Everybody, and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well on this Friday morning. I hope everyone enjoyed last night's game. We will be talking about that in a little bit from now. But before we get into today's video, if you could all do me a small favour and make sure to drop a like on this episode. Let's try and hit 500 likes today. And if this is your first time watching, let's try and get to 40,000 by the end of this year. Go and subscribe now if you haven't already. Right, lots to get into on the show this morning. We're going to be talking about player leak chaos, which is going on at Manchester United at the moment. The internet is going into absolute meltdown, trying to work out who the player is that's leaking the lineup. So we'll be talking a bit about that. We'll also be talking a bit about Alvaro Fernandez, with Manchester United apparently sending scouts to Benfica's game last night. And we'll also be talking a bit about Marcus Rashford, the game last night, and obviously the game against Man City on Sunday. So lots and lots to get into on this morning's show. Make sure to get your say in the comment section below. Have your say. Let me know what you think on everything we discuss. Let's start off by talking about Marcus Rashford, shall we? And I'll ask you this, because I did a poll a couple of days ago on the channel, and the question was simple. Should Manchester United sell Marcus Rashford? This was on, I think, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. And 95% of people who watch this channel said that we should sell Marcus Rashford. Now, I wanted to rerun this poll and see what the results were like. So I'm going to do it in the live show. So it'll be a simple question again. Should United sell Marcus Rashford? The fee would be around 40 million. That's what's being mentioned in the UK media. Obviously, if you're watching this back on repeat, you can't get involved in the poll because it's only on the live shows, which are every morning. But you can obviously have your say in the comment section. So go and get in the comment section now and answer the question, should Manchester United sell Marcus Rashford? 40 million is apparently the asking price. That's how much Manchester United are asking for. But obviously, you have to consider as well that Marcus Rashford is on £325,000 per week, right? Which over a course of a season is around nearly 20 million a season, including his add-ons, his bonuses. So if you think that he's got 4 years left on his contract, his deal expires in June 2028. 4 times 20 is 80 million. So he's got 80 million pounds worth of wages left, 40 million transfer fee. So really, it's really 120 million if you think of it like that, right? Because you'd be saving 80 million in wages over the 4 years and you'd be getting 40 million, 100% profit from the transfer fee, obviously. So look at it more like that. 80 million pounds worth of wages saved and 40 million pounds received in 100% profit transfer fee. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Now, for me personally, I think last night's performance from Rashford was an absolute disgrace. It was honestly, it was disgusting to see. It really was. For somebody to be earning that amount of money, right? And just to give you some context, Victoria Pilsen's highest earning player earns, I think it was 300,000 a year, right? 300,000 a year, Victoria Pilsen's highest earning player. Rashford earns 325 a week. So he earns more in a week than what Victoria Pilsen's highest earning player earns. Now, that's not his fault. It was Manchester United's decision to give him that contract. They were the ones who were stupid enough to say, let's give him 325 grand a week. So, you can't blame him for accepting that money. I mean, if your work turned around to you tomorrow and said, we want to increase your pay, we want to give you a 5-year contract, you're going to take it, aren't you? So I'm not blaming Rashford for for the receiving that amount of money, because that's on Manchester United. It's on John Murtough, Richard Arnold, etc., who were dumb enough to give him that contract. But what you can blame him for is, he plays this whole, the local lad, I love the club, blah, blah, blah. But then he just doesn't show it on the pitch. And he's been like this for years. I can't remember the last time I saw a Rashford performance where I even thought that he was putting in effort, and that's the bare minimum that we expect, to just put in some effort. And the fact that we're even having to have this conversation, it's just sad, isn't it? Like, compare him to, say, I don't know, someone like Dalot, right? I don't think Dalot's particularly good, but he gives 150% every single game. He's never injured. He never mopes around. He's running back, running forward constantly, So I respect him for that. I still don't think he's Manchester United quality, but I respect the fact that he gives 150% every game, The same with Maguire. I don't think he's Manchester United quality, but he does give 150% every game. The same with McTominay when he was at Manchester United. He wasn't Manchester United quality, but he would give 150%, right? Whereas Marcus Rashford, he barely, I wouldn't even say he gives 50%, 100% definitely not. I would say that most games, even if Rashford scores, he's like a 5 or a 6 out of 10 at the very, very most. And that might be even being a bit generous. And the conundrum we have now is, what do we do with Marcus Rashford? Because obviously we've given him this massive new contract. He's here for another 4 years on huge wages. And taking away all of the emotional element of it, right? I don't think he suits this style of team at all that Ruben Amorim's trying to build. I think Mason Mount yesterday, when he came on, changed the game. I think Mason Mount deserves a lot of praise, you know, and there's been a lot of people in the fan base, me included, who've said, you know, Mason Mount was a bad signing. Why did we do that deal? It doesn't make any sense. I actually think Mason Mount in this Ruben Amorim system would be absolutely perfect. And I think yesterday, in that number 10 role, one of the two central attacking midfielders, I thought he was amazing. I really do. And I think, you know, if he can stay fit, Mason Mount, he should be starting. For me, the front three going forward, right? And I'd be interested to get you guys' opinions on this. The front three would probably be, for me, Bruno, Ahmad, and Højlund, okay? But I think Mason Mount's very, very close in and amongst that. And you could even have Bruno a little bit deeper, like he was yesterday, which would then mean you could have Ahmad, Mason Mount, and Højlund. I think that would be perfect, you know, because I think all of those players in that front three would really, really complement each other. They all are trying to find a pass. They're trying to bring others into the game. As much as I like Garnacho, he's a very selfish player. I think he's one of those who thinks he wants to be Ronaldo, doesn't he, effectively? The same with Rashford, you know, they think they're these big name, big star, big moment players, but they're not really, are they? Let's be fair. But I think, you know, Garnacho is obviously still very young and he does give 150%, which is the opposite of what Rashford does. So in relation to what we do with Marcus Rashford, the news this morning is saying that apparently Manchester United are now willing to accept £40 million for Marcus Rashford, which I would take. Remember, it's 100% profit. And remember that we would be saving around £20 million a year in wages, which is, I just can't get my head around that. Someone's paid £20 million. It's mad, isn't it? But, you know, let's take away the financial element. Let's take away the personal frustration from the fan base. There must be something going on in Rashford's life that's making him be like this. You know, there's been a lot of stories coming out in the last couple of days saying that, he's got stuff going on off the pitch. I mean, if that's the case, just take him out of the team. You know, let him have a couple of weeks off, let him go and sort himself out, because there's no point putting him in there just because he's on 325k a week. If he's not in the right headspace, then, you know, I think you take him out of the team. So, and the black and white matter of the situation is, right, he's still going to get paid every single week, regardless of whether you think he's good or not. He's still contractually going to get £325,000 landing in his bank every single week, whether he scores assists, whether he runs back, whether he tracks back, whether he looks like he's interested. It doesn't make a difference. He's still going to get the money. And, you know, when a player like Rashford or anybody gets used to the money, like 325k to him probably isn't even very much money. And I know that sounds mad to me or you, but he's probably just used to it now, you know? Like, so it's a difficult one, and it's one of those ones where we've given him everything and he can't motivate himself anymore. He doesn't look like, he doesn't look like he cares. He doesn't look like he's interested anymore. So it's a really difficult situation, hence why it says Rashford Conundrum. I would love nothing more than Marcus Rashford to, you know, turn it round, but I just can't see it. I don't think he's going to work in this setup, because he's not a central attacking midfielder. He's not clever enough with his play. All he wants to do is run down the wing and shoot. But in this current setup, that's not really how Ruben Amorim wants his players to play. And if anything, you know, if he was going to play in that position, he'd be more of a left wing back or a right wing back, wouldn't he? So yeah, that's that. Let's move on from Marcus Rashford though, and let's jump on over to Alvaro Fernandez, because the story's coming out this morning that apparently Manchester United have sent scouts to watch Alvaro Fernandez in Benfica's latest game. So that's good. I think he'd be a really, really good signing for that left back position. I think it was, you know, a massive shame that we let Alvaro Fernandez go. But at the same time, he's gone off. He's got experience, and hopefully we can bring him back now. So the game that the scouts went to was the Bologna game on Wednesday, and Alvaro Fernandez won man of the match. This was in the Champions League on Wednesday, Benfica against Bologna, and he was the man of the match. I mean, we have to bring him back. Obviously, we have this buyback clause. I think it's around £12 million. We're on the brink of signing this other guy from Paraguay who's only 17, but my understanding is that he would stay in Paraguay until next year, whereas Alvaro Fernandez could be bought in January with this buyback clause, and then he could go straight into that left wing back position, which would be perfect, because currently that left wing back position is a little bit all over the place, really, isn't it? I think Malacia was okay yesterday, but I don't think Malacia for me is, again, Man United quality. I think he's maybe a backup at best, Malacia, and fair play to him. He's come back from a horrible injury and he's got himself available. So I have a lot of respect for him. But even before Malacia got injured, I didn't really think he was that great, to be honest. I thought at the best he was, like a backup option. So for me personally, we desperately need to strengthen that left wing back position. Obviously, there's been talks of Alphonso Davies, but from what we're hearing this morning, Manchester United don't really stand much of a chance because, one, there's no Champions League football. Two, everybody can see that Man United's in a mess at the moment. Obviously, we won last night, but we're 13th in the Premier League. Why would Alphonso Davies, who's playing for Bayern Munich, who win the title pretty much every year except for last season, why would he move to Manchester United, other than for money, when he's got Real Madrid knocking on the door as well? So, yeah, I think the Alphonso Davies one is probably quite unlikely, and that's why we're looking at people like Alvaro Fernandez, which I think is a much more realistic option. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see how that one plays out. Hopefully we do a deal in January, because I think we desperately need to strengthen that left wing back position. Just a little bit on yesterday's game yesterday. So, obviously, we beat Victoria Pilsen. We're now sat 7th in the Europa League group stage, table, whatever you want to call it. And that would mean that we now, if we finished in the place we are now, we would automatically qualify for the round of 16, which would be great, because we don't want to play this extra playoff round. That would mean an extra home and away fixture somewhere in the season, which we desperately don't need. So, fingers crossed. I think our next two games are against FCSB, which they're doing quite well. They're 10th in the group. And then we play Rangers, who are 8th in the group. So we've got a couple of difficult fixtures. I would still expect us to beat both of these teams. I mean, we play Rangers at home. Let's be honest, we should be beating Rangers at home. And then FCSB, I think we play away from home. Both of these games are in January, so in about a month's time. So a little bit of a way away. But as it stands at the moment, we're doing quite well. Let me just have a little sip of my water. What's going on here? Al says, do you think Andre Onana is good enough? Should we bring back Matej Kovar? I think Onana makes too many mistakes for me personally, and I wanted to talk about this actually. So the Victoria Pilsen manager was asked about Andre Onana after the game, and he effectively said this. He said, so this is a direct quote from the Victoria Pilsen manager after yesterday's game in the Europa League, right? And he's asked, did they deliberately target Andre Onana? And this is a quote from the manager. He says, I told my players to shoot from everywhere. I mean, that kind of sums it up for me, doesn't it? Does it not for you? The fact that the manager of the team that you played last night has openly come out and told him that his instructions to his team was to just, every time they get the ball in a good position, just to shoot at Onana. I mean, you don't do that against a goalkeeper that you think's going to save it, do you? He obviously saw the goal against Nottingham Forest, effectively put him under pressure, take shots at him, and you'll probably get a goal. And albeit they did, but that was more from a mistake, wasn't it? But I don't think I don't think Andre Onana hated himself particularly well last night, to be honest. I think, that goal, although to be fair, when I watch it back, Matthias de Ligt was also at fault. Matthias de Ligt didn't look like he wanted the ball. And, in a Ruben Amorim style team, you need centre-backs who want the ball. Like Lenny Yoro wants the ball. Matthias de Ligt, I think, is okay on the ball. I don't think he's amazing on the ball. And you could tell yesterday that he wasn't very confident. Andre Onana passed him the ball. A ball-playing centre-back should be able to take that ball from Andre Onana, but obviously Matthias de Ligt couldn't. and they scored. So as much as it's Andre Onana's fault, I think it's also Matthias de Ligt's fault as well. But at the same time, you know, if you're going to be overcritical, Andre Onana probably knows that Matthias de Ligt isn't that comfortable, and he looked like he wasn't comfortable in his body. You know, Matthias de Ligt didn't look comfortable. You could tell that he was a little bit hesitant about the ball being passed to him. So Onana probably in that point should have passed it to someone else, but instead he passed it to Matthias de Ligt, who was surrounded by 3 players, and then obviously they scored. But yeah, I think, you know, if we could find another goalkeeper, I probably would. I don't think Altay Bayindir is the answer, to be honest. I think, you know, lots of people seem to think that Altay Bayindir is this perfect option to bring back, you know, or to bring into the team. I don't see it personally. You know, we've seen Altay Bayindir play a couple of times and I thought he was pretty average. He's not world class, you know, I don't think so. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're going to stick with Andre Onana clearly. But it might be in a few years' time, maybe they decide that the goalkeeper, you know, if he keeps making mistakes like this, then I can't see how, you know, he would keep his place as the number 1 goalkeeper for Man United. He has made some big saves this season, though, so we've got to be fair. But some of the mistakes that he made have been pretty terrible. I mean, that one against Nottingham Forest, I've never seen anything like it. You know, it's not like the pitch, I don't know, it's not like it bobbled on the pitch and went in. It literally was kicked straight at him and it went in. So, yeah. Al says, Turkish fans told me that Bayindir is very bad. Fair enough. Let's move on to this story about the player leaks then. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but so social media has gone into an absolute meltdown since last night's game because, again, the lineup was leaked about 2 hours before kickoff. There's people, you know, some people are saying it's this person, some people are saying it's this other person. It's just the classic where probably nobody actually knows who the actual person is. People are blaming people. Some people are saying it's Ahmad. Some are saying it's Garnacho. Some are saying it's Rashford. Some are saying it's Mount. And all this is doing is just creating toxicity in the fan base, as it always does. It's creating divide. It's creating, you know, player FC, specific loyalties towards players. I don't think it's good. I don't think it does any favours. And I think, to be honest, Man United need to sort this out, really, from a, you know, a social media communication standpoint, because, you know, there's people going into absolute meltdowns, like outing players saying, oh, it's Mason Mount. I know it's Mason Mount. Oh, it's Bruno. It's like, come on. You seriously need to get a grip. And, you know, even if it is, say, I don't know, Ahmad or it's Garnacho, right? And say what, you sell them. As soon as they go, somebody else is going to start doing it anyway. You know? Like, this happened before. This has been going on for about a decade. Do you not remember? Like, under Mourinho, under Van Gaal, like, there's always been players leaking the lineup. It's just how it is. A player becomes friends with one of those accounts on Twitter with loads of followers, and then they start giving them information. That's effectively all it is, you know? So, I don't know. But obviously this is now turned into like mass hysteria. People going absolutely mad saying all this crazy stuff. But I thought I'd talk about it a little bit. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but obviously there is a situation that needs resolving here by Manchester United. How they resolve it, I don't really know, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's not really an easy situation to resolve, is it? Because as I said, as soon as they find out who it is, even if they get rid of them, they're still going to then have the same problem happen again. It's just going to happen over and over again. So, yeah. But yeah, the problem with the internet is it's just like the Wild West, isn't it? There's no rules, there's no regulations. And because of that, these types of situations happen where, you know, people make up fake rumours about players leaking stuff or this, that and the other. And yeah, it all just transcends into absolute chaos, which is not good. It doesn't do the players any favours. It doesn't do the fan base any favours. It doesn't do the manager any favours. You know, it's not an ideal situation to be in. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Feels like a good point to end today's show. It's been about 20 minutes, which is usually how long I like to keep the videos. Please make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe before you go. This has been Daily Red Devil. I'll be back tomorrow morning about the same time, so make sure you join me for that. Have a lovely day. I'll speak to you all then. Bye for now.